Warning, I chain smoke and I say fuck a lot, but I accept myself for the way I am. I accept you too. Viewer discretion advised.
Adams.
Here.
Adamley.
Here.
Adamowski. Adamson.
Here.
Adler.
Here.
Anderson. Anderson.
Here.
So I looked into Ben Stein a little bit and found some shit. This first woman, Morgan McGovern, March 25th, 2017, open letter to press and law enforcement regarding Ben Stein, the pedophile. I had a traumatic experience when I was 12 and 13 years old from 86 to 87 in California and Connecticut with celebrity pedophile who used his status to groom, stalk, and exploit me. Later on, asked me to sleep with him when I was in 7th grade. He knew how old I was. He is economist, political speechwriter, pundit, journalist named Ben Stein, who is currently a correspondent with CBS Sunday Morning News.
Bueller. 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 Bueller.
When I was 12 or 13 years old and in the 6th and 7th grades, Ben Stein groomed me, took photos of me at his home, and paid me $50 with a personal check for them. Brought me in for auditions at Universal Studios in a quid pro quo situation with the photos, stalked me over state lines, sent my mother cash to fly me out alone to California, offered me gifts and shopping, and then asked me to have sex with him and spend the night overnight in his hotel with him when I was visiting in a nearby city, Manhattan, when I was 13 years old, in the 7th grade. Ben Stein wrote 2 separate articles that were published in the Los Angeles Herald Tribune about my mother and our family in 1986. After I met him when he came to our house to interview my mother and family and some of the random people living in our house, he offered to help me become a working actor and told me he could get me a job on a TV show like Charles in Charge.
Anyone? Anyone? The Great Depression passed the, anyone? Anyone? A tariff bill, the Hawley-Smoot Tariff Act, which, anyone, raised or lowered? Raised tariffs in an effort to collect more revenue for the federal government.
Checks started coming to our house because he wrote an article about how great my mother was and took care of vulnerable children, when in reality she was a con artist and exploited teenage kids to do her scams for her. My mother knew he was a pedophile and used me as bait to extort money from him. I was born in LA to a performing family. My father was a Broadway actor, which is how I became a child actor. He called our house a few weeks or days after the interview and told me that he wanted to show his nephew how pretty California girls were and wanted to take photos of me by his pool at his house. He requested I wear a bikini to the photos, but my mother said I must wear shorts and a t-shirt. He agreed. He only brought me in the audition at Universal Studios after I had let him take photos of me at his home in the hills, and his wife, Alexandra Denman, was home that day. I met her. She did not look me in the eyes. Ben Stein's wife, Alexandra Denman, is on the board of the California Children's Law Center and works with vulnerable children, and she was home the day he took photos of me by the pool and paid me $50 with a personal check when I was 12. I believe Alexandra Denman is complicit with his exploitation of children. His wife should not be working with children because she was home the day he took photos of me, and it was not normal behavior for the auditioning process. After I let him take photos of me, he then brought me in for auditions at Universal Studios to Al Burton's office. The last time I spoke to him in Westport, Connecticut, sometime in early '87, is when he called and asked to speak with me and told me he was coming back east to New York City and asked me to meet him in the city and sleep with him when I was 13 years old.
Did it work? Anyone? Anyone know the effects? It did not work, and the United States sank deeper into the Great Depression. Today, we have a similar debate over this. Anyone know what this is, class? Anyone?
Everyone told her to let it go because he was really powerful in Hollywood, and later on had his own game show on Comedy Central with Jimmy Kimmel.
I smell sex on you. The kids want to see you naked. If you drop your pants, I'll drop mine with you. Maybe just whip your schlong out.
And now on to page 6. Ben Stein wrote a bizarre magazine column last month that he's still like a hormone-crazed teen who gets mad crushes on every beautiful woman he meets. But one woman targeted by Stein told page 6 on Monday that 69-year-old married grandfather is nothing but a manipulative leech who gave her money and then begged to touch her even though she's pregnant. Her name is Tanya Ma, and Stein referred to her as Lucia. Stein wrote that he was immediately smitten after first setting eyes on her at the San Fran airport in spring. She was a stunningly beautiful, absolute knockout young Eurasian woman. We've been in touch almost every day since. He said he'd read my blog and I gave him my contact info. We texted for about 4 months, then he asked me to send him pictures. He said he was very captivated and just wanted to remember me. After a while, he started asking for more racy photos. Then, earlier this month, he wanted to place me in a hotel near where he lives. But the day before I was supposed to meet him, he texted me about wanting to touch and kiss. Stein said, "When you get here, I want to hug and kiss you. I understand you don't want to fuck me, but I want to touch and kiss you." I knew he had developed a crush on me, but it was just starting to get weird, said grossed out Tanya Ma, who is 18 weeks pregnant by former beau. Growing horribly uncomfortable with his antics, Ma said, she texted back, "Ben, you may hug me and feel my baby bump, but anything more is too much for me. I'm not your girlfriend. Can't we simply enjoy a conversation and a meal? I'm pregnant." Stein responded, "Your note hurts my feelings. Insulting, shows zero appreciation."
Anyone? Anyone seen this before? The Laffer curve. Anyone know what this says? This is very controversial. Does anyone know what Vice President Bush called this in 1980? Anyone? Something DOO economics.
Who else was in Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Jeffrey Jones.
Ed Rooney.
Ed, this is George Peterson.
How are you today, sir?
Jeffrey, what's up, man? Looking good?
Looking good? The motherfucker looks like a ginger Stay Puft Marshmallow, man. What are you talking about?
Anyway, Jeffrey, you got a court tomorrow, right, man?
Excuse me?
You have to go to court tomorrow, correct?
Are you with TMZ?
Indeed I am, sir.
Okay.
They say if you're convicted, you can get up to 3 years in prison. Is that like a realistic thought in your mind?
No.
So what was the case? How come you didn't register yourself?
You know, I think I've done everything that I have to do. This is, you know, I have to accept what it is. I think that you guys have no idea. And of course, we can't forget about Charlie Sheen.
You wear too much eye makeup. My sister wears too much. People think she's a whore.
Fucking stoned. I got motherfucking spaceship. Oh, fuck. Oh,